The other possibility is that the tag element is A and it has an ancestor table, and the link, the class is link on the table, right? So that could be something like that.
Table.link and then space A.
Yeah, so the selector would be table.link space A. Mm-hmm. And that would find this right here. Any questions on that one? All right, so then the next one says find all the li elements with ID thing and class person. So the first one is pound thing space li dot person. So this one's almost correct. Then this one li pound thing dot person. So that one, yeah, that one's correct. And then ID comma class person. So that one is not correct, right? So ID, you have to remember that you have, when you have, in order to specify an ID, you have to use the pound. And to specify a class, you have to use the dot. Right, so this one, pound thing, li dot person, what that's going to do is it's going to find, let me go here. So for example, div ID equals thing. Thing. And then li class equals person. So that would work for that, right? But if we had something like this, ID equals thing, and class equals person, then that wouldn't work for that. This one thing, li dot person. It's saying that there's a parent or an ancestor thing that it's looking for, right? Any questions on that one? Okay. And let's look at the next one. So find all the span elements with class person and class item. So span dot person and span dot item. So this one's also ambiguous. So this one could be interpreted as correct. And the comma basically just says find anything that matches this and also anything that matches this. So this one is going to find a span that has person and a span that has the class item. And then this one, span that person dot item. So that one's also can be interpreted as correct, because then like the wording of the question is ambiguous. It doesn't tell you that it has to have both person and item. So yeah, what I was looking for was something like this, span that person dot item, but I can see that the question is ambiguous. So yeah. Questions on that one? Okay, so then the next one, inside a table element, find the last tr element. So the first one is table space tr colon last of type. And then tr colon last of type. And then table.tr. So the tabel.tr. Okay, so Yeah, last of type. What I was looking for, let me open up the, because you guys, I'm assuming that you guys try to study this, the link that I sent, right? So last of type, yeah, last of type. Okay. Yeah, I was just making sure that I didn't remember that incorrectly. But yeah, that last of type, I don't think it's, I don't think it's one. What it's looking for was last child.
Last child defines the last child in general, though.
Yeah,
The one you were looking at was the last of type for the number.
TR element.
For,
yeah, for TR, well, the last TR in that table. So if we had that table with one TR and then another TR, or let's do 3 TRs. So then I would want to find this one right here.
so the last child that wouldn't specifically look for a TR element, it would just find what was last, the last child was.
Colon.
Well, you do table, TR colon last child.
You would return it.
You should, yeah. Because it's specifying the TR, that is the last child. And that's kind of what, you can see that's kind of what they did in the example with a UL instead of a table and a TR. So you have UL, and then here they specify a direct descendant, and then LI colon last child.
So in that website, w3schools.com,
Mhm.
you know, they let you try stuff, like run stuff live. If you will.
Yep.
And I did it, and doing last of type,
They
if
work.
you modify it, it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't have to put a table TR.
You did not?
I just put TR.
Okay.
Yeah.
How-
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm
No, yeah.
asking you if I'm wrong.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong.
Well, that's why I was curious, because I've seen it that way.
Last of type.
Yeah, so.
So that might be another way of doing it. I'm gonna read more a little bit about it to see what specifically it's doing. But if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, any questions on that one? Okay, so did you guys feel a little bit more comfortable with CSS? Or I mean, it's really useful, and like if you're going to use a lot of jQuery, that's basically what they use in jQuery to find the selectors. Yeah. How do you feel about it, Rundown? Do you feel a little bit more
I
comfortable?
feel a little bit more confident now. I think I was just overthinking it. More
Okay.
so. But it makes sense now that a lot of the, like the inherent classes and stuff, it makes more sense. I think I was just looking at it as CSS and just being more specific in the way it is. So I mean,
Yeah, it's like a little mini language, right? Like the selectors are like a little mini language. So it's like a little puzzle. Like, okay, I want to find that and that. What is the expression that I have to write to be able to find this thing? And then once you find it, then the CSS is, okay, I found that thing. Now I want to style it like this.
this is good for like database type stuff. If you're looking for some of that story.
No, this wouldn't be used in databases.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's just it's just for the DOM, for basically HTML,
Okay.
right? Because that's you're searching for HTML classes, IDs, so it's just for HTML.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. So then the next thing is, let's see. So like I tell you, I was going to come up with a little list of mini projects that you can guys pick. So let me post that on Slack. So let me just go over some of them. So one is mini Facebook. And so all of these have as a requirement setting up device and having a user be able to log in using device. So you can log in using device. And then whenever a user, like in this one, you have a page with all the users in the system, and then a link next to the user where you can click like add as friend. And then when you add that person as a friend, then it shows you on your page all your friends. And on a different page, it will show you all your friends. And then you also have the option posting a wall, like posting messages to a wall, and then people can comment on those messages. So it's a very simple of what Facebook is, right? But like doing this project, we just show you, like give you some idea, how is Facebook doing that? When they were creating it, what were the issues that they were thinking about? What were the problems that they were encountering? That kind of thing, right? So it's fairly simple. It just has the ability to add friends, and it has the ability to post statuses and comments on those statuses. So that's one option for a project. Questions on that one? Okay, the next one is Pinteresting. It's basically, again, you have a login system, and then users can upload images to their page. When we started doing Code the Dream, the first class, like that's the app that users created, and like they had to watch some videos. It was called 1 Month Rails, and they had to watch some videos about how to do it. And they use a library to make it look pretty. Were you in that cohort, Rondell?
With the Pinterest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it through, what was it? It was a video.
1 Month Rails. Yeah. So yeah, that's one possibility. You can just call that. I think that's probably the easiest one out of all these projects. Questions on that? Okay. And the next one is like an online store. So basically, a user signs up, and when they sign up, they have a certain number of credits, and then you can create products on the page, and you can set a price for each of the products, and then the user can look at the different products and like click buy to buy that product, and when they buy that product, it removes credits. It removes that number of credits from their from the number of credits that they have, and eventually, they're going to reach 0 credits, and they're not going to be able to buy anything else. So it's a pretty example of how kind of like an online store would work, or maybe not an online store, but maybe a system. One of those games, where like a freemium games where you play it and then you can buy things, and then eventually you run out of credits. Yep. And then maybe you can use your credit card to add more credits, that kind of thing. Any questions on that one? Right, and the next one is just a rating system. You have users, and then you can create books, movies, or songs. What I would suggest is that you just pick a certain type of thing that you want to review. So it would be on a book review system, or it would be a movie review system, or it would be a song review system, because then you can add more specific attributes to it. So if it's just a song review system, then you can add like when the song came out, the artist, and other stuff when you're creating that item. And then the users can rate an item on a scale of 1 to 5. And then you can see like the average rating for that item. And then maybe users can add comments on that item. This is kind of like the survey app that we created, where there it was difficulty instead of how much the user liked it. Yep. Questions? And then the next one is a timesheet system. And so, when you're working on something, maybe you want to see how much time you spend on a particular project. So you can go into this app and then write down the start time and the end time of a certain activity that you are participating in. And then at the end, the system just shows you how much time you spent on each of those activities. So, for example, you can say, I spend this much time working on Code the Dream, this much time in cleaning my room, etc. Questions? And then the next one is a live chat system. So you're going to have a logging system. But this one's a little more interesting. It's different than the other ones because this one is going to use a lot more JavaScript. And how you're going to accomplish this is by using jQuery. And basically once every second, you're going to check the server. You're going to do a GET request to the server to see if there are any new messages. And if there are any new messages, you're going to update the page live. And then when somebody types a message, it's going to be sent to the database. And eventually, it's going to show up on everyone's computer. Yep. Questions on that one? So these are like sample projects that you can pick. If I had to rank them in order of difficulty, the Pinteresting one is probably the easiest one. Then the live chat is probably the second easiest. The only trick is that it's going to use a lot of JavaScript. So that might be difficult for some people that are still not comfortable with JavaScript. Then after that is probably the rating system. So we've kind of done something like that. Then the online store. Then the timesheet might be difficult just because you have to calculate, the time, right? Start time and end time. Okay, how many hours does that correspond to? So there's some math involved there. And then Facebook's probably the one that's it's not complicated, but it might take the most time, I'm assuming. So yeah, you have until Saturday to pick one of them. Or you can pick your own. You don't have to pick one of these. And then on Saturday, we'll just write down, which one you're going to be working on. You'll start working on it, and then give an update every time we meet. And yeah. Does that sound good?
How many more weeks do we have?
How many what?
More weeks do we have?
Not sure, but I think it's about 4 weeks, 4-ish weeks.
That's what we have to finish.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's what we're gonna be working on.
Yep. Well, yeah, pretty much. We'll still have like new material here, but how it's going to work is we're going to come in, update on the progress that we're at, and if people are stuck on something, we'll work on that particular piece that they're stuck on. You might learn, from that. Like even if you're not working on that particular, you might learn from looking at how to fix that particular issue. And then after that, we'll just have a new topic. And then depending on if it takes us a lot of time to go through questions and answers, we may not have a lot of time for a new topic. But or maybe everyone's like way ahead and everything's good, and then most of the class might be just going through that new topic. But that's pretty much it. So, any questions? Just think it over, read it through. I think, did I send the link? Yeah, I sent the link. And then, try to manage your time. Let me know, if you're going to be like really busy the next few weeks. And you're thinking like, I may not have enough time to do something like that. So pick the easiest one, which is probably the Pinteresting app. Or something like that. But we just want to see that your ability, at going through the process of working on an app and troubleshooting and solving, problems that you might get stuck on, and also like time management, like just overall. Any questions? Okay, so hopefully you'll enjoy working on something interesting. Yeah. And what's up?
What are you doing? I'm gonna try to do it.
You're trying to do what?
So I'm wondering if I can do it. I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I'm figuring well, maybe not everything, but most things. Just kind of reasoning out what would be practical to complete.
Yeah, try. Usually, like the last class that we did this with, some people started out with like this big idea, and then they scaled it down a little bit. But you never know. You might start with what you think is a big idea, and then you end up finding out that it actually wasn't that bad. So I think it's fine if you start with something big, because we're going to have these periodic updates, and so I think these periodic updates are going to help us to realize where we're at, and if our expectations maybe are too high or maybe too low. Because you might end up being like, I finished in 1 week, so now what? And so then we could be like, okay, why don't you add this other feature and this other feature? Okay. All right. So now we're going to continue working on the weather app that we had. So if you remember, this is my code for the weather app. So I think I have to start Apache. So service Apache to start, and then open and weather. Okay, so this is where we were at before, right? And for some reason, our API was not working. So if we went here, we went to the sample API, and then remember the last time we clicked on that, and then that's the URL that we got, and we try to change this to, for example, Raleigh. Yeah, so it always gave us like London, right? And it's, yeah, so if you notice right here, it says samples.openweathermap.org. And the URL right here says just api.openweathermap.org, right? So yeah, I think that's the problem that we were having. So I tried that, and it seems to be working, right? So if I now I can type in Raleigh, and you see that it gives me Raleigh. Or if I type, let's see, Durham, yeah, it gives me Durham, right? And country, US, and all that stuff, right? So I think that's what we're going to use. So, yeah, questions? Okay. All right. So now we're right here, and this is our app, and then we don't have any JavaScript yet. So I'm gonna add some JavaScript here at the bottom, right before the body tag. So script. Remove the source. The type is text JavaScript. Right, and then I'm going to add a function so that when you click on go, then that function gets called. So here in the button, we do onClick equals. Let's name the function update. So at the bottom, I'm going to do a function update in console.log hello. And I just want to see if it's working. So let me refresh. And then let's see, click on go. So yeah, you see that it says hello, right? All right, so now what I want to do is I want to get the text from that input field from city right here. So city, right? So how would I do that? I want to do some jQuery, and then I need a selector. So the selector is going to go there. It's going to have something. And then to get the value, I call the method val. So var city equals jQuery. And then I'm passing it the selector, which I don't know what it is yet, and then dot val. Right. So what would be the selector for that input element?
What would you response?
Let's take a look at the HTML. The HTML is right here. It's input class form control name equals city, placeholder equals city. So how would we, what CSS expression would be something that finds this this element?
I guess you could use the selector, but would it be better to have an ID?
Yeah, we can have an ID. So ID equals city.
Can you just do it with that class?
Well, it's just because we use form control so often.
Yeah, if that's your only input element, then I guess it would work. But like if you added another field, then it would not be unique. You wouldn't know which one it is.
That was my concern, is that you use form control just for anything that's a form. So if we put any other kind of form on there, we want it to look like right, we give it the class form control, but then that would mean that it's going to be looking at that as well.
Right. So yeah, that's the most common thing that people do, is that they add an ID and then use over here. So then now that we have an ID, what would be the CSS selector here? Town, city. Yeah. Okay. So now this should give us the value of the city. So I'm doing console.log city just to output it to the console. All right. So let's do, let's see, Raleigh. Click on go and see it shows Raleigh, right? Then let's do Durham. Click on go and it shows Durham, right?
We needed to call, so we needed to call that weather API and insert the city into that.
Into the URL. Mhm.
Okay.
So now that's what I'm gonna do next, and so that's the URL. All right, so there's the URL. So the URL has that, and then it has Q equals Durham, which that's where the city goes, and app ID, and then that's my key. That's my access key, which you can, if you sign in, and then go to API keys, you'll see it right here. So it should be one of these. You can use one of these API keys. Okay, so now I'm going to create another variable, URL equals, it's that, and then it ends there, and then city, Durham. So what I'm doing basically is just inserting the city right in the middle. Close it. Okay. So now I want to do an AJAX call to that API, right? So do you guys remember how to do AJAX call using jQuery? So let's Google it. So jQuery AJAX. And then we just look at the documentation. So here we go. This is, you pass it the URL. You don't have to pass it the context. And then you pass it this done function. So that's what I'm going to do. .ajax. And then URL is this URL variable right here. And then, but I need to put this in braces, braces. And then done function response. So I'm calling the AJAX method, and then I'm passing it this hash, and then it's going to return to me what's called a promise. And then on that promise, I'm calling this done method and passing it another method. And then this method is the one that's going to get called when we get a response back from that server. So I'm going to output to the server a response. So let's see if it works. So I'm going to do Raleigh. Click on go. Okay, so we have a problem again with HTTPS versus HTTP. So let me change this to HTTPS. You can see that because it says mixed content, the page ad, and then that's my page was loaded over HTTPS, but requested an insecure XML HTTP request endpoint. Endpoint typically in API language just means like a URL. Okay, so I changed it. Now let me refresh and do Raleigh. Okay, so now it works, and we have our JSON object. And you can see that we have the, like for example, clouds. And let's see, we have the name of the city. We have the humidity, the temperature, the max temperature. So we need to change this so that it's Fahrenheit, right? Because right now I think it's in Kelvin. So if you remember, we can just add another HTTP attribute right here, called units equals imperial. So let's see if that works. So Raleigh, Maine. Yeah, so the temperature is 71.24, right?
You put it before the comma. The unit.
I put it right after city and before the app ID. So city plus and then ampersand units equals imperial.
So what's that after it? Is it did I check the wrong URL?
Do you have API, the openweathermap.org data 2.5?
Yeah, I have all that, but then after it add US, then I have the ampersand and then mode equals XML, then ampersand app.
Oh, yeah, remove the mode XML because then that's going to return XML instead of JSON.
Do I remove the US?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In case we want to search for cities outside of the US. So the only parameters that I have for the query is Q, units, and app ID.
And I don't need the comma. Okay, good. I got it.
Cool. So since response is a JSON object, we can do we can do it like a hash, access it like a hash, response square bracket main, because we see that main is one of the keys there, right? So if I do that, and okay, hold on a second. If I do that, then it just gives me that specific array or object. So let's look at your error. Let's see. All right, so here's weather and URL. Oh, this is a forecast. So you're doing forecast. And I think what we have is this weather. We'll use forecast later, but right now I'm just using weather. And then let's see. I think that's it. And then I think everything else looks fine.
Oh, it still says unauthorized. I got a 401.
And that's the correct API key for you? It works?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so
You know which Raleigh?
how does he know what?
Which Raleigh?
It probably uses our IP address to try to narrow it down. It's like, oh, that's a US IP address, so they probably mean US. Yeah. All right, so then response is an object, and so we can access that item like that, and then we can also do go one level down, because what we have right here is an object that's temp. So if I do temp, then I should get 71.24. So let me refresh. And Raleigh, click and go, and you can see that you can narrow it down, right? So it works very similar to a Ruby hash, right? So response is a JavaScript object, but you can use the square brackets to access each element in that object, right? Questions on that? But the other way that you can do it, and this is only JavaScript thing, is that instead of using the square brackets, you can just do .main and then .temp, as if they were like attributes of that object. So you can do that, and then let's refresh. Raleigh. You can see that it works the same way, right? Okay. So now that we have our data, we can kind of know how to access it. Now we just need to update these particular fields in our DOM element, right? So I'm going to just remove that so that every time I do a request, I'm able to look at the response and find the data that I want to look at. And then I'm going to go back over here to the top, and like, for example, here, the temperature, right? I'm going to change the 80 to a span, and then the ID equals temp. And initially it's just going to be empty, right? Now over here, bottom, I want to do a jQuery search for that particular span, right? So what would be the CSS selector for that?
ID, what was it, 10?
Yep, I think that ID temp.
Or being the pound, right?
Yep, pound temp. Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, because those are classes. Never mind.
So then now what we want to do is we want to update the text inside that span to the actual temperature, right? So there's a method in jQuery, it's just HTML, and it just means that you're updating the HTML inside whatever you found. So you're updating the HTML inside temp to the string that you're passing it. So in this case, response dot main dot temp, right? That's where, in the response, that's where we find the temperature. So let's refresh. So you can see the temp is gone now. But let's do Raleigh. And then click on go, and you see that it updates it to 71.24, right? So now let's do the same thing for the humidity and the wind. So let's see, where is the humidity in my data? So if I go to main, there's the humidity. Right, so I can just do that. So go up here, And then I'm going to change this. I'm going to add a span. ID equals humidity. And then over here, it's going to be very similar. So instead of temp, humidity, right? And then I'm changing response.main.temp to response.main.humidity. Okay, so refresh, rally. So you see that 71.24, humidity is 94%. Right? So let's see where the wind is. So doesn't look like it's there. That's just the pressure and the max temp minimum. Wind, yep, there we go, wind. And then degrees, and then speed. So degrees tells me, I guess, which is very specific, right? So if we just want to do like the winds coming from the west or from the east, then we would probably have to do some math, right? Like basically say something like, okay, if the degrees is between 0 and this number of degrees, maybe let's say if it's between 0 and 90, then the wind is going to the east, or actually northeast, right?
Because with 0, it would be west.
West.
East. And if
Yep.
it's 90, it would be north.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's between those, it would be northeast.
Right. So you have to do something kind of like, if you just wanted to say east, it's like if it's negative 45 to positive 45, then that's east, right? I think.
No, that would be, so it would be 90, 180, and then 180 plus 90, I can't remember, it's 270.
Yeah, 270,
And then
270 plus, yeah, so it's some math, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do math. So, I'm just going to ignore that, right? This is just demonstration. Like you could do the math if you want, but I'm not going to put the direction. So then here, I'm just going to do another span with ID equals speed. And then down here, I'm just doing the same thing. Speed. And then this one was wind, and then I forgot what the speed. Okay, there we go. So speed. All right. The other one is this little image, right, that I want to do. So right here, somewhere they give us that image. So weather, let's see. Okay, weather, and then that's an array. So in the first element in the array, light is description and icon. Those are the things that I want, right? So let me go back up there. Where is it? Okay, so here we go. Yeah, right here. So in here, I'm going to do another span with ID equals icon. And then that's it, right? So there's not going to be an image yet. And then right here, icon.html. And this is where I'm going to put my image. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create this image string. So img, I'm creating an HTML tag. src equals, let me do single quotes here. And then so I can do double quotes here. And then I'm going to do HTTPS. openweathermap.org/img W. And then here is where you add the response. This is where we're going to put the icon, right? So response, weather, and then is the first element in that array. So weather 0 dot icon, because there, that's the icon. And then they're only giving us the name of the icon, but they're not putting like PNG. So then start a new string and then .png, and then close that string, semicolon. And so basically, we're adding a new image tag element, right?
You always get the first array in that, the first element in that weather array, though, right?
Yep. I think if we read the documentation, they're just giving us what's going to happen in the next few hours or so for the like a mini forecast.
Yeah.
And so I won the first one because that's what the weather is right now.
Oh, I see.
Okay, let me write that.
So
I
the,
just copied it instead of reading the icon before.
then the next one is the description. I haven't created that span yet, but the description is going to be a response.weather 0 dot description. Yeah. And then let me go over here and then create that span. So that's right here, right? So span ID equals description. And then I think that's it. So let me refresh. And then let's do Raleigh. You can see that it updates all that information, right? So let's pick another city. Think of another city.
Let's do Corolla.
Corolla. Okay, Corolla, North Carolina. So less humidity, but about the same temperature. That's right. Any others? San Francisco. Okay. Right. So you see that the little icon changed, right? And there's haze, different temperature, different wind speed, so on. Right. Let's pick a desert city. Phoenix. Go. Okay, so it's clear sky.
What do you say, like Sahara Desert?
What is it?
Sahara Desert.
Yeah, that's a good question. Sahara. That's not a city, right? But let's see what happens. I don't know. It picked something.
Yeah.
So 107. Yep. So yeah, it looks like it's working, right? It's questions. So it wasn't that bad, right? What do you- so now we want to update also this forecast, right? So for that, we want to use another API call. So that one is let's see, okay, the 5-day forecast, right? So that one, it's the same thing as just forecast instead of weather. So let me copy the URL. And then it's a different Ajax call, right? So it's .ajax. And then URL is going to call that variable forecast. Done function response. Okay. And let me put the URL right here, forecast. Let's do forecast URL. Be a little more explicit as to what it is. And there's the URL. So let me remove that mode equals XML. And then, so it's going to be Q equals plus city plus, and then it's going to be the other stuff that I have here, right? So this other stuff, I'm just going to copy and paste. Okay. And then I'm going to output it to the console. Console.log response, right? So let's do Raleigh. Click on go. I need to refresh. So Raleigh, click on go. And okay, so we have an error not found. Oh, let's see. Oh, I need to put HTTPS : // Raleigh. Okay, so now this is, I think this should be our forecast object. So let's expand it, and then so we have the city. You know, it has the information about the city, and then the list, and this is the forecast, the 5-day forecast. So let's look at element 10, and it gives us the clouds, the mean, the rain, the weather, all that stuff, right? So now it looks like we have to figure out which of these array elements to pick. So let's read the documentation.
And you must do all this by hand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So this is just a process of also understanding just what the data is. Yeah. What's what. Right. And that's when you're working with APIs, that's the process that you're going to be going through. Initially, you're going to be like, okay, where do I find that data? And it's a lot of documentation reading. So let's look at this list. So list, time of date, forecast, DT. Okay. So if I go back, let me expand one of these objects. So DT is the time of day, or DT_TXT. So it tells us, you know, when the forecast happens, right? So this one is for A10, so August 10. Right now it's August 8, so it's 2 days from now at 12 o'clock, so noon, right? So that forecast is for 12 o'clock noon. This forecast is for 2100. Let's look at this previous one. This is for 9 a.m., 6 a.m., 3 a.m., midnight. Okay, so we're gonna have to, you know, pick something, right? So, any ideas? Because we want it for a day, but we don't want it. Yeah. So, any suggestions?
So it gives you a date and it gives you a time as well. And in the console right now, right?
Yep. So we're gonna have to, yeah, we're gonna have to pick
What
some
day?
of these,
Okay.
right? We don't want to show all of them. Yep.
So we have like, what is it? Is it 4 slots there?
We have 5 slots because we have a 5-day forecast. Mhm.
Or you want to do a 5-day? I thought maybe you could just do one day and show different points in that day.
Like different times in that day,
Yeah.
the forecast. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one possibility. Huh?
I guess you could just do the high of the day. Midday.
Like
Or
high and
all of
low.
Yeah, we can do high and low, right? But which object do we pick? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, right?
I guess the object, because of the time, right, creates a different object because of the time.
Because I also want to show an icon.
Yeah. The first one you find.
Yeah, that's one possibility. Yeah. I mean, another possibility is that that I just pick like noon, right? And I just look at all the noon objects and then just use those. So I pick
Yeah.
5 noon objects. So I think that's what I'm going to do, right? So since it looks like I get 38 objects.
39.
30, was it 39?
Yeah.
Yeah, 39 objects. So, which one is this? 38. Let's look at the one at position 39. So that's 813 at 2100 hours. So that's like,
Sunday.
yeah, 5 days from now at 9 o'clock, right? All right, and then the very first element is 9 at 3 a.m. So that's the next day at 3 a.m. Then the next one is at 6 a.m., 9 a.m.
So intervals of 3 hours.
Yeah, looks like it's intervals of 3 hours. So I'm going to pick the one at 3 at position at index 3. And then I'm just going to add 3, yeah, or whatever it should be. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's intervals of 3 hours, I guess it would be 24 hours divided by 3. It's about 8, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if that works. No. All right. So I'm gonna do a loop. So for int I equals 0, well, I want to start at position 3, and then I want to go through the loop while I is less than 39, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
because there's 39. And then, or actually I can do just response dot, let's see, list, is it list? Yeah, list.
That length.
Yep, list that length. And then I plus equals 8. So, any questions on this loop?
That's JavaScript, right?
That's JavaScript.
In JavaScript, do you need the parentheses for the length method?
No, length is an attribute.
Oh, okay.
So I'm starting at position 3, and then I'm just incrementing by 8 every time. Now I'm going to output that to the console. So this would be a response. You item equals response.list at position I. And I'm just going to output item. And then Raleigh. So I have an error here, unexpected identifier. Okay, so, I put int. I thought I was in C or Java. All right, so should be var. Raleigh. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 of them, right? Okay. So now, any questions? Okay, so now, now it's just a process of doing the same thing that we did here, but with this. So let's see. Well, first, let me look at one of these objects. So I have in main, I have the temperature, and I have the max and the min. So instead of just putting a temperature, I'm going to just put the max and the min, and then I'm going to put the description and so on. But let me just start with the max and the min. So the way, let's see, here's the temperature. So here I'm going to do span and then ID equals, well, this is the first one. So I'm going to do F for forecast, 1, and then dash temp. Okay. And the next one I'm going to do F2 dash temp, F3 dash temp. Basically, I'm specifying the positions right here. So that's that one. And then the next one is this one. Span ID equals F2 dash temp. And then this one, span ID equals F3 dash temp. Span ID equals F4 dash temp. And then, okay, last one. Let's see if that works. All right. So then my, what do you think is going to be my CSS selector for jQuery?
F1 dash temp, right?
And then HTML item dot main dot, let's look at the temperature, temp max and temp min. So are they the same?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. For this one, they're the same, right?
I think it would be the same one for all of them because they're concentrated on just one time.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just do temp. Temp. Okay. So let's see. Refresh. Okay, so it updates that, right? But it didn't update the other ones. Right? So how could we update the other ones?
Can you somehow adjust it so that you can automatically omit one on that F1?
Yeah, we just have to construct the script, right? So I'm gonna do another variable, our let's see, j equals 1. And then after I'm done, I'm going to increment j. And then right here, I'm using to do f, pound f plus j plus the rest of the string, right? So I'm constructing the CSS selector. So this is a kind of like a dynamic CSS selector that I'm generating the string for that CSS selector so that it's updating. I'll refresh that. And then let's see, rally. Right, so it looks like it's working, right? It's changing. All right, then let's do the icon. So if I click on object and then I click on weather, and then the first element is going to give me the icon and the description. I'm going to do the same thing, F. Well, this one is, yeah, F plus J plus dash icon. And then HTML, let me do that in a little bit. Then this one is F plus J plus dash description. Yep. .html, and then this one should be easy. So item dot weather, the 01 dot description. Okay. And then this one, I'm gonna copy this this URL, the string for the yeah, for the icon. So this one's going to be item weather 0 icon.png, right? Now I have to create those IDs over here. So let me go here. So this one, okay, so here's the image. So this one, I'm going to do a span ID equals F1 dash icon. And then let me just copy and paste that. It should be 2. Three. 4. 5. And then let me delete those extra icons. Okay, I think that's fine. And then the description, so right here, yeah, here we go. Okay. Then right here, this one's going to be, let's see, ID equals F1 dash description. And then I'm going to delete the text inside. And then I'm just going to paste that in different areas. Okay, I think that's it. So this one is 5. This one is 4. one is 3, 2, and 1, right? So let's see what happens. Okay, so Raleigh, and go, and you see that it updates the icons, the descriptions.
You gotta change the dates, right?
Yeah, now we have to change this. It just says Sunday, 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 right? So let's see what we can do with our API. So so I mean, we have this string, right, for the date. So I think one JavaScript has date object. So if we search for JavaScript date, or date to string, let's do date object. Okay, so you can create it. You can create it like this. You can pass a date string. And then I think you have, like these other functions that give you the day. Yeah.
It's at the top. It's the second.
Day, yeah, returns day of the week from 0 to 6. But I think I want like the name of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Day, UTC day. Let's see. I think it does give it to you.
I'll make the date object for string.
It may not give it to you, but we will figure it out. So I'll show you how to do it. So we'll use that for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a 0 or 1 or 1 to 6. So here the next one is going to be F plus J plus dash day .html, and then it's going to be the day. So the day is going to be equal to date. Yeah, let's see. So new date and then the string. So new date and then the string is item dot, let's see, item dot dt underscore txt. So dt underscore txt. And that's the thing. So we have to do get date. Okay, and now I need to have the spans for that. So here we go. ID equals F1 dash day. And then we remove that. Sunday, 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 okay. This is 5. This is 4. This is 3. 2. Okay. So let's refresh. Raleigh. Okay, so now it's giving us 9, 10. Okay, I think I got the wrong one. I should have done day, get day. Let's see, what did I do? I did get date. Okay, so it should be day. All right. Ollie. All right, so now you can see that it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, right? So now how do we get the day? Any ideas?
Manually do it.
What is it?
You're gonna have to manually do it.
Yeah, how would you manually do it?
You can do an if else, you can do a hash, you can do an array.
Yep, I think an array would work well. So let's create an array right here. Var days equals, and then the first one's going to be Sunday. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then right here, we're going to do days. And we're just going to pass the index, because essentially get day gives you an index for this array, right? So now let's refresh. Do rally. Now you can see that it says Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's a 5-day forecast thing. Great. I think one last thing is if we refresh, that all of this is showing up, right? And without any data, it would be nicer if it only shows up once we have data.
The current.
The current.
Well, that's kind of.
Yeah, initially we don't have a city.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Yeah,
So-
if you can just hide all that.
Yep. But what we can do is we can just hide it, and then once we get a response, we'll show it. So right here we have this. Let's see, current is where we have the current weather, and then the UL is where we have the forecast. So initially, I'm going to not show this. So one way to not show it is by adding some CSS. So style, do you guys know what this style means for a tag element? Yeah, it's an HTML attribute, but style specifically, whatever you put in that string, that's CSS, and that's CSS for that specific element.
So the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. So if we do display none, then yep. So display none just hides it, so it doesn't show it. So let's.
Or just at the beginning.
It doesn't show it until you change the CSS to something else. So yeah, it doesn't show there, right? Let's do the same thing for forecast. So style equals display none. So yeah, your question is good because this is just never show it. But with jQuery, the cool thing about jQuery is that you can change the CSS of different items after your page loads. So your CSS doesn't have to stay the same. Right? So let me refresh that again. And now we don't see anything. So now what I'm going to do over here, also when I get a response back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for current, and with jQuery it has a we could change the CSS specifically. So with jQuery we can do attribute, and then style, and then display. I think it's normal. See if that works. We're changing the value of the style attribute for that tag. So Raleigh. So it shows it, right? Now, this is, instead of doing that, jQuery has another function that's a shortcut for just doing exactly the same thing. That's just called show. That just, it's the exact same thing. So we'll do that.
Write all that, you can just write it.
So we'll do that, and then we'll do the same thing for forecast. That show. And then refresh. And then let's do Raleigh. Now it shows it, right? Let's try another city. Let's do Phoenix. Okay, so it's, we might be a little bit off, right? Because like it shows Wednesday. I think that's, is that the moon? That might be the moon.
Yeah.
So for Phoenix, we might be doing something different. So we might, like, it's not, working, properly for every city, but the concept's there. What I think is happening is that it's giving you the forecast for the next few hours. So for Phoenix, we were probably off by some number of hours. So we might have to do something where, yeah, I'm not sure what we have to do, but I think it, it just demonstrates how you use an API that somebody else created and how you can update like little parts of your of a page, an HTML page that's already rendered.
You get it line for the table, bro.
These lines right here,
Yeah,
you want me to get them off?
yeah.
Yeah, and the reason that that's there is because I did that on purpose.
Oh, you did?
I put it in a UL element with a list group. So yeah, we just have to get, I think I can, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bother right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, you can get them out. So any questions? Yep. You have a question, Kristen? You're just stretching. Okay. All right. So for next class, we'll start another topic, and then come with your, choose the app that you're going to do, and then we'll just work on that app, and we'll have presentations at the end. And then once we have those presentations, then you have the ability to start working on projects.
Are you gonna push this to GitHub?
Yeah, let me push that to GitHub.
I think I forgot to do that. Push my link.
It should be there.
That'd be nice.
You too. See you.